Oh, ARMS. The game that was doomed and we didn't even know it. Well, I'm sure there were some people that knew like right away, like, excuse me, it's going to be doomed. ARMS, I have a video of like playing ARMS in 2024, and I talked a bunch about ARMS, but I honestly want it to have its own video of me just talking about it. Maybe I'll, show some trailers or gameplay or whatever, like in this video, but I just wanted to talk about ARMS because ARMS to me had the spirit of what I think of when I think of Nintendo. Because when I think of Nintendo, I think of the like wacky, they're the only company that's going to be doing this, like cool games. Now I don't need that all the time. Like, when they make a new Mario Bros, I think Wonder was great, but I also liked Mario Bros. Wii. I liked Mario Bros. U. So like, there's a point where it doesn't have to be like a crazy change, but I'll still enjoy it. But I've always liked ARMS was the exact same way I felt about Splatoon. I will never forget when Splatoon was shown off at, I believe it was E3, because E3 was still around. I remember I was at work, and I think two of my friends were texting me about like, yeah, there's this like weird shooter game, and like you're shooting ink and stuff like that. And I just remember being like, what? Like, what are you guys talking about? And like the fact that they were like excited. Like I believe I think at least one of them was like excited. So it was like, whoa, like what the heck is this game? And then like to see it, it was so cool. It felt so Nintendo because they took a genre. I feel like other games weren't like other shooter games weren't exactly like Splatoon. It had its own spin. It had like a cool thing with like how all the characters were. Like it was a whole new universe. It was awesome. I love when Nintendo has a cool idea and there's a whole new universe of characters and stuff to get into. I love that. So Splatoon, they nailed it. So then to see ARMS at the Switch I think it was at the Switch presentation thing. I remember just seeing that trailer and it's like, oh, like what are they showing? Like what are they showing? Like what's happening? What's happening? To see the game, it was just so Nintendo. And that's what I loved about ARMS. It had so much character to it. To see the characters that they added and just like it was just so cool. It was their spin on a fighting game. Like they already have a super successful fighting game, which is what we're going to get into. It was their spin on fighting games again, because they have the platform fighter with Smash, and then this was another spin on fighting games. And was it the most in-depth fighting game? I don't think so, but I feel like what this fighting game did, which like, yes, I was still competitive in it, and yes, to a degree, that's a fault on my own because I feel like there were times where I did not enjoy the game as much as I could have because I was just way too competitive with it. I remember Ego Raptor felt the same way as me, where, well, I say that as if he was friggin' like talking to me, but I remember Ego Raptor saying almost like, because my friend I think was like, sounds like he's saying like word for word what you said, where Ego Raptor was talking about how he had said that, he loved ARMS and everything, but he would lose and wanted to get better, but just didn't know how to get better. And that's how I felt too. Like when I would lose, I really didn't know how I was losing. And like I wanted to get better, but I didn't really know how. So if you take a step back though, and back up from being competitive, I personally feel like that game achieved what Sakurai tries to achieve with Smash Bros. Now, I say that Smash Bros is the best selling fighting game of all time. So in terms of cementing his game as like, a piece of history, he did it. Like he made an amazing game. But Sakurai very clearly likes the for fun side over the competitive side. I think he's gotten more open to it, but in general, I think he prefers it just being played on a casual for fun level. And that's where I feel like ARMS did it. Because ARMS had a bunch of fun side modes that you could actually play online, which is still one of my biggest gripes with Smash, is that Smash would make what looked to be fun modes that I never could play because you couldn't do them online. But regardless of that, you could play them online, and they really listened to like what people wanted. And they were very interactive with the community. With like what the community was asking for. I remember there was something with like the controller scheme that I believe they changed. I think like some other things that people were talking about, and then they ended up changing. Like there was feedback being received when it came to ARMS, which I'm sure some of it's received with Smash. But to stay on track with what I was saying about how I feel like ARMS did what Sakurai was trying to achieve, is that I really do feel like they nailed it with the for fun aspect. There were so many different side modes that were fun to play that you could play online with your friends, and there was like a whole lobby dedicated to just like playing those fun modes. You could either search competitive or like the for fun stuff. And when you did the for fun stuff, it had like a bunch of the modes in there. ARMS in general, to me, had a ton of potential, but it was plagued with its lack of content, because that was absolutely a problem. There was really not that much to do. And I know that it's a fighting game and there's only so much you can do with a fighting game, but I feel like with Smash, I mean, people will play it for hours and hours and hours, and it doesn't end up being as much of a problem. Whereas with ARMS, you could really only do so much with it, because at the end of the day, even though the characters had different attributes, it's still, you're throwing out the arms. Whereas with Smash, I mean, there's whole move sets that are different. And then plus with all the amount of items and stuff like that. But ARMS was something special. And it really felt Nintendo. And it's so weird to look at now, because as soon as Ultimate was announced, I remember it was already like, oh, yikes, the storm is coming. Granted, I have 3,000 hours in Smash, so I love Smash. But that didn't mean that I wanted ARMS to die. It would have been nice if they both could have just coexisted. But as soon as Smash Ultimate came out, I feel like that was it. Like it went from ARMS is this cool game to like, what's ARMS? Now, was I checking the lobbies and stuff when this was happening? No. But I believe, I mean, it just demolished it. I mean, there wasn't even any coming back from it. And it just sucks. It sucks because there's a lot of people that never got to experience ARMS. And the one thing that I will say about ARMS that I feel like they did that absolutely hurt them is they showcased it only as a motion control game. And it's interesting because I would still get people, even within, I want to say within this year, I still had somebody where I had mentioned that you don't need motion controls in ARMS, and they said, really? And that goes to show the marketing. I think Nintendo was still too stuck on motion. Because you got to figure that was when the Switch was coming out. So I think at the time, they felt, yeah, I mean, motion is still the thing that people will want to do. But in reality, I don't think it was. I think at that point, people were pretty much done with motion. The way ARMS worked was if you used motion, you had more nuance in your punches than you would if you did traditional controls. But you could still do traditional controls. And I wish they would have just had a few advertisements. I still think if they had an advertisement where somebody was like throwing out the punches and they get tired, they show them put the Joy-Cons down, sit on the couch, grab a Pro controller, and continue playing. I think it would have helped the game a ton. Now, I say all of this, but it would not have fought the inevitable. I thought there was a spider on me. Sorry. It would not have fought the inevitable. Smash was going to overtake the game. But it is so weird that ARMS is this game that is just like this. It just had its span of time where it was so much fun. Like, it was fun to see the characters coming out. It was just fun. I remember they were doing like the tournaments on the Nintendo streams, and one of the creators of the game he was like playing the game against people. I remember he ended up being really good at it too. So it was like he definitely like cared about the game. It was just a fun time. And I really hope that the next console has another fun time type of game where, yeah, maybe it doesn't end up being as big as Smash or Mario Kart or whatever, but it was honestly a fun time. And it sucks that, it's a game that I can't suggest to people. That's what's so strange is like I can say nothing. Well, I still have, some negative things about ARMS, but I have a lot of positive things to say about it. And it's a game that I will always look at as I'm so glad that I played it and experienced it when I could. because I legitimately can't even suggest the game. Future Marson here, I just wanted to clarify that what I was saying here is because you no longer can really find people online. It's very, very, very scarce now. All right, back to old Marson. And then what also sucks, I mean, this is a minor thing, but it sucks that Min Min got into Smash, and now I feel like people just think that ARMS is just annoying because, like, Min Min's kind of annoying to fight in Smash, but I don't know. Also, Nintendo could have put ARMS on, like, sale when Min Min came out. I mean, the game was already, like, dead. With Min Min getting added to Smash, you think they would have made it, like, $10 or something just to freaking get people to play it. But no, they didn't do that. They probably got, like, 2 sales off of it because it was still, I think it's still $60. I think if I went in the eShop right now, that game is $60. That's crazy. Like, no one is getting that game anymore. But it was inevitable. The game was going to die. And that is just what's so weird, is like, you know, I was just there like, oh, this is so much fun. I love this game. Meanwhile, there's a freaking storm brewing, and that storm is called Smash Ultimate. And again, freaking love Smash Ultimate. But man, do I wish those games could have coexisted. And I think the best thing that I got, or like the best outcome of this, is that ARMS will live on through Smash if they keep the roster into the next one. At least that piece of history will be cemented into Smash. But man, is it weird to have a game that I have such cool memories about, and I have so much positive to say about it because it just feels so Nintendo. But I can't suggest it to anyone.